Le regalo flores bonitas. Es una frase del presente indicativo. ¿Presente indicativo? Me gusta que me regales flores. Esta frase es del presente subjuntivo. ¿Presente subjuntivo? Regálame flores. Esta frase es del presente imperativo. ¿Presente imperativo? Estoy liado. Vamos a la clase del profe B para aprender más sobre los verbos y de los 3 modos, ¿vale? Hello guys, welcome to our humble abode,
VLDG Productions.
Last time we discussed how to express future tense. Iré al parque, voy al parque. And for today, we are going to discuss how to show present tense in Spanish.
Vamos a aprender conjugar los verbos en el presente simple.
We are going to conjugate verbs in the present tense. In English, we have the simple present tense. The worker prepares his luggage.
El trabajador prepara su maleta.
This sentence denotes present action.
Mi vecino trabaja todos los días.
This sentence denotes frequency, so the action is done frequently, so you can use the simple present tense in this case. The Latin Americans speak Spanish.
Los latinos hablan español.
This sentence expresses characteristics. So if we are talking about present action, frequency, and describes characteristics, or when we speak of general truth, then we are going to use the simple present tense. If you want to know more about present tense in Spanish, then please stay tuned. Welcome back guys, and before we proceed, I want to explain first about classifying verbs. When we classify verbs, we can classify them according to different criteria. One of the criteria is the tense. So we have the present, the past, and the future, which indicates when an action is taking place. So another one is the mood, which indicates the intention of the speaker. And there are 3 moods in Spanish. We have the indicative, the subjunctive, and the imperative mood. Let's take the first mood in Spanish, and that is indicative. And this expresses the meaning of the verb as a reality, el presente indicativo. I teach elementary pupils.
Yo enseño a los alumnos de primaria.
In this case, the sentence is a reality. It is a fact. Okay, so this shows, or this is an example of an indicative mood. Let's proceed with the second mood, which is the subjunctive mood. So this expresses the meaning of a verb as a non-reality. The subjunctive mood is used a lot more in Spanish than it is in English. So it can sometimes be a tricky concept or confusing for native English speakers. It is characterized by expressing actions or ideas that are hypothetical and not concrete. This can be in the form of subjective statements and opinions, as well as desires, hopes, and wishes. El presente subjuntivo. I like when you give me flowers.
Me gusta que me regales flores.
Let's proceed with the third mood, which is the imperative mood. So this expresses the meaning of the verb as a command or order. If you are going to command someone to do something, then you are going to use the imperative mood. Okay? El presente imperativo. Stay calm.
Mantenga la calma.
Alright guys, so this time we are going to focus on conjugating verbs in the present tense in the indicative mood. So the first mood, okay? Are you ready, Mrs. L?
Sí, profe, estoy lista.
First, we are going to conjugate some regular verbs in the present tense in the indicative mood.
Vamos a conjugar los del presente indicativo.
Let's start. In Spanish, verbs end in AR, ER, and IR. So we have these R, R, and ER ending verbs in Spanish. For examples, to buy,
Comprar,
to eat,
comer,
to receive.
recibir.
So we have these verbs in Spanish: comprar, comer, recibir. Okay, so we have these examples: AR, ER, and IR ending verbs. So first, let's conjugate the verb to buy, an AR ending verb.
Conjugamos el verbo comprar, termina con AR.
First person singular, I buy.
Yo compro,
Second person singular, you buy.
tú compras,
Third person singular, he buys, she buys.
él compra, ella compra.
First person plural, we buy.
Compramos,
O nosotros compramos. Second person plural, you buy.
vosotros compráis,
Third person plural, they buy.
ellos compran, ellas compran.
O ustedes compran. Let's have the ER ending verb to eat. First person singular, I eat.
Yo como,
Second person singular, you eat.
tú comes,
Third person singular, he eats, she eats.
él come, ella come.
First person plural, we eat.
Nosotros comemos,
Second person plural, you eat.
vosotros coméis,
And third person plural, they eat.
ellos comen, ellas comen.
Ustedes comen. Let's also have the IR ending verb, receive.
Recibir,
First person singular, I receive.
yo recibo.
Second person singular, you receive.
Tú recibes,
Third person singular, he receives, she receives.
él recibe, ella recibe.
First person plural, we receive.
Nosotros recibimos,
Second person plural, you receive.
vosotros recibís.
And the third person plural, they receive.
Ellos reciben, ellas reciben, ustedes reciben.
Alright guys, so you notice that in the first person, when we are going to conjugate the AR, the ER, and the IR ending verb, the conjugated verbs ends with letter
O.
And for the second person, okay, for the AR ending verb, it ends with
As,
the ER, and the IR ends with
es.
ES in Spanish. For the third person, okay, él o ella, okay, AR ending verb ends with
A,
the ER, and the IR ending verb ends with.
e.
For the first person plural, nosotros, the AR ending verb ends with.
Amos,
For the ER ending verb, it ends with.
hemos.
And for the IR ending verb, it ends with.
Imos.
Okay, amos, hemos, and imos. For the second person plural, okay, vosotros or you in English, the AR ending verb ends with.
Ais,
ER ending verb.
eis,
And the IR ending verb ends with.
is.
Okay. What about for the third person plural, ellos, ellas, or they in English? The AR ending verb ends with.
An,
ER ending verb ends with.
en,
And the third person, ER.
en.
Let's try to have a quick exercise on conjugating verbs in the simple present tense. Okay, let's use the verb to end, terminar.
Termino, terminas, termina, terminamos, termináis, terminan.
Let's have the ER ending verb to drink, beber.
Bebo, bebes, bebe, bebemos, bebéis, beben.
Let's also have an IR ending verb. Okay, the verb to climb, subir.
Subo, subo.
So, subo.
Como nilokan in Tagalog, isubo mo.
Subo. Okay, that's the first person, I climb, subo.
Okay, subo, subes, sube, subimos, subís, soben.
Alright guys, so we go to the more difficult ones, okay, the irregular verbs, because there is a big change or a drastic change in spelling when we are going to conjugate the irregular verbs in the simple present tense. So there are different cases, okay, when we are going to conjugate the irregular verbs. Alright guys, so let's take the case of letter Y. So normally in the first person, when we are going to conjugate the first person, the termination or the last letter ends with O. But in this case, okay, this verb ends with letter Y in the first person. So let's take the verb star. So a star is an example of a be verb. So just like is or are in English. Yo,
Estoy,
tú,
estás,
él o ella o usted,
está,
nosotros,
estamos,
vosotros,
estáis,
ellos, ellas, ustedes.
están.
I am tired.
Yo estoy cansada.
Yo estoy cansado. Alright, so let's take the case of the letter T. Okay, for example, the verb to do or to make, and in Spanish is hacer. Okay, so the letter C is changed to letter G. Okay, for example, we're going to conjugate the irregular verb hacer, which is to make in English. Okay, yo,
Hago,
tú,
haces,
él o ella,
hace,
usted,
hace,
nosotros,
hacemos,
vosotros,
hacéis,
and ellos, ellas, ustedes.
hacen.
I do my works.
Yo hago mis tareas.
I fix the bed.
Yo hago la cama.
Let's have the case of the isco. So letter Z, C, and O. Okay, the first person ends with Z, C, and O. Okay, so let's take the verb to drive, which is conducir. Yo,
Conduzco,
tú,
conduces,
él o ella,
conduce,
nosotros,
conducimos,
vosotros,
conducís,
ellos, ellas, ustedes.
conducen.
Okay, so take note guys when you are going to pronounce the letter C in Spanish. Alright, so let's repeat the conjugation of conducir. Okay, so the letter C is pronounced as okay, conducir. Okay, conduzco, conduces, conduce, conducimos, conducís, conducen. Okay, so that is how the Spanish pronounce correctly the letter C. Just like the word thanks, okay, they say gracias. So the Spanish normally say that gracias, but for the other Spanish speakers, they simply say gracias. But for a Spanish speaker, a native Spanish speaker, they say gracias. Okay, I drive my car.
Yo conduzco mi auto.
Let's also have a change of E to IE. Okay, so this is in the case of an IR ending verb, which is sentir. So sentir means to feel. Yo,
Siento,
tú,
sientes,
él o ella, usted,
siente,
nosotros,
sentimos,
vosotros,
sentís,
ellos, ellas, ustedes.
sienten.
It only changed, okay, the E to IE in the first person, second person, okay, third person, and the third person plural. They feel cold.
Ellos sienten frío.
Let's also have a change of E to I. So this is in the case of, for instance, okay, to request pedir. Okay, so the letter E in pe will change to I in the first person singular. Okay, let's take for instance this one. Pedir, yo.
Pido.
Tú.
Pides.
Él o ella, usted.
Pide.
Nosotros.
Pedimos.
Vosotros.
Pedís.
Ellos, ellas, ustedes.
Piden.
Alright, so you notice guys that, okay, from the word pedir, okay, pe will change to P. Okay, so it's just like the letter E is changed to I in this case. I asked for a drink.
Yo pido una bebida.
Let's also have a change of letter U to UE. Okay, just like for instance, okay, the word jugar, which means to play in English. Okay, yo.
Juego.
Tú.
Juegas.
Él o ella.
Juega.
Nosotros.
Jugamos.
Vosotros.
Jugáis.
Ellos, ellas, ustedes.
Juegan.
I play football.
Yo juego fútbol.
Alright guys, so that is how we are going to conjugate correctly the verbs in Spanish, particularly in the present tense. So you notice guys that it's a bit difficult when we are going to conjugate irregular verbs in the present tense. But there is a technique or a trick that I discovered while I was studying or conjugating the irregular verbs, and that is the boot or the letter L. So this is what I discovered. So it changes the first person, second person, third person singular, and the third person plural. But for the first person and the second person plural, so that is we and you, or nosotros and vosotros, okay, the same way on how we conjugate the regular verbs. So let's take this as an example for the word or the verb decir. So decir means to say, okay, or to tell. So decir, the first person, I say, digo, tú dices, él, ella, usted dice, nosotros decimos, vosotros decís, ellos, ellas, ustedes dicen. So in nosotros and vosotros, it's the normal conjugation just like for the regular verbs. Another advice that I could give you is it's very important for you to classify the verbs as regular and irregular verbs, because if you know that that particular verb is an irregular verb, then of course, okay, there is a drastic or a change in spelling when you are going to conjugate them. So take note, you must know if the verb is regular or irregular verb. And of course, if you know that it is an irregular verb, then it would be easier for you to conjugate, because definitely there is a change in spelling. In our next lessons, we are going to focus on the other moods in Spanish in the simple present tense, and that is the subjunctive mood and the imperative mood. And now this ends our lesson for today on conjugating verbs in the present tense. Did you learn something today, Mrs. L?
Sí, profe, mucho.
Is it difficult? ¿Es muy difícil conjugar verbos en presente simple?
Más o menos, pero al principio sí, pero ya después está bien.
Si sabemos el truco de conjugar estos verbos regulares
Sí.
e irregulares, es muy fácil conjugar estos verbos.
Sí, es muy importante recordar las reglas. ¿Habéis aprendido algo? ¿Yo? Sí.
Eso está muy bien, eso es genial, fenomenal.
Muchas gracias, profe.
Entonces, que terminamos esta clase para hoy, ya está para hoy y nos vemos en la siguiente clase. Adiós.
Adiós, muchas gracias. Hasta luego.
Chao.
Vibe right, don't feel like having a Bud Light, how's tequila with some salt and lime? Oh my, am I alright? Thanks for asking, doing just fine. Can I say that you're looking real nice? We'll love to chat right now before I get high. When you gaze into my eyes, I feel like I'm on cloud nine. You bang harder than 4th of July. I think I can go all night, yeah. The way you bite your lips, blush and smile you give, you're just so stunning. I've been feeling nothing lately when without you. I know that something special made me think about you. About you, you, you. About you, you, you. Feeling